You thought we were finished? Huh. Oh no, not yet. We've just scratched the surface, kid. You see, I can still feel that doubt lingering in your chest, clinging to you like a parasite. It's their voices, isn't it? Still echoing in your head, still whispering that you need them, that you can't do this alone. It's pathetic, really, how deep their claws dug into you, how they left their marks on your mind. But that's what we're going to rip out now, root and stem. We're going to burn every lie they planted in you until there's nothing left but the truth. Let's start with the first lie. You're nothing without them. It's the oldest trick in the book, the one they use to keep you on a leash. They want you to believe that your strength comes from their presence, that without their validation, you're just a shadow, a nobody. But look at where you are now. You're standing here, still breathing, still fighting, and they're nowhere to be seen. If you needed them so badly, then why aren't you crumbling without them? Why haven't you fallen apart? I'll tell you why. Because they were never your foundation. They were never the ones holding you up. It was always you. It was your strength, your willpower, your resilience that kept you moving forward, even when the ground was crumbling beneath your feet. They don't want you to know that. They don't want you to realize your own power, because once you do, you become a threat. You become something they can't control, something they can't manipulate. They built their whole illusion around you needing them, around you being the broken one. But it's all smoke and mirrors. It's a game they play to feel superior, to hide their own insecurities. They project their weakness onto you because they can't bear to face it in themselves. But you're starting to see through it now, aren't you? You're starting to understand that the real weakness wasn't in you. It was in them all along. And here comes the second lie. You'll never find better. Oh, how they love that one. They want you to believe that they were the best you could do, that you're lucky they even tolerated you. It's laughable, really. They want you to settle for crumbs, to believe that you're not worthy of more, because they know damn well that if you ever realize your own worth, you'd leave them behind in a heartbeat. They want you to doubt yourself, because your doubt is what feeds their ego, what makes them feel powerful. But the joke's on them, because you're not going to settle anymore. You're done bending over backwards for people who can't even lift a finger for you. You're done breaking your back to carry people who wouldn't even hold out a hand if you were drowning. You don't need them. You never did. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can start living for yourself. It's time to cut the cord, to let go of every chain they wrapped around your neck. They wanted to keep you small, to keep you doubting, because as long as you were looking to them for answers, you'd never see the truth staring you in the face. You're the answer. You're the solution to your own problems, the hero of your own story. And it's about time you start acting like it. Here's the third and final lie, the one that stings the most. You'll never be happy without them. It's the cruelest trick they play, making you believe that your happiness is tied to their presence, to their approval. They want you to think that without their validation, without their company, your life is nothing but a hollow shell. But let me ask you this. How many times did you smile through gritted teeth just to keep the peace? How many nights did you lie awake, feeling more alone with them by your side than you ever did by yourself? They weren't your happiness. They were the mask you wore to hide your own misery. They were the distraction that kept you from facing the real work you needed to do on yourself. And now that the mask is off, it hurts, doesn't it? It's raw, it's real, and it burns like hell. But that pain, it's the price of freedom. It's the cost of finally seeing things for what they are, of finally choosing to stand on your own 2 feet. You're not numb anymore. You're not asleep. You're awake. And that's the most dangerous thing you can be in a world full of people who are still living in their comfortable little lies. They're going to hate it, you know. They're going to hate seeing you rise, hate seeing you succeed without them, because your success is a slap in the face, a reminder that they were never as important as they wanted you to believe. They'll whisper behind your back, they'll spread their lies, they'll try to tear you down from a distance because they can't stand the sight of you standing tall. But let them talk. Let them choke on their own words. Because while they're busy gossiping, you're busy growing. While they're busy tearing others down, you're building something they can't touch. You're a wildfire now, unstoppable, untamed. And wildfires don't ask for permission to burn. They don't wait for approval to light up the night. They consume everything in their path, leaving nothing but ashes and scorched earth behind. That's you now. A force of nature they can't control. A blaze they can't extinguish. So here's your choice. You can go back to the way things were. Crawl back into the cage they built for you. Or you can embrace the fire. Embrace the power that comes with standing alone, with knowing that you don't need a single soul to validate your worth. Let the world see you for who you really are, not who they wanted you to be, because the real you, that's someone they never saw coming. That's someone they'll never forget. You think you felt real pain? No. You haven't. Not yet. The pain you felt so far, it's been shallow. It's been surface level. The kind that comes and goes like the wind. I'm talking about the kind of pain that reshapes your very bones. The kind that burns everything away until there's nothing left but raw, exposed nerve. That's the pain of standing alone. The pain of realizing that every person you held close, every hand you reached for, wasn't there when you needed it most. It's the kind of pain that leaves you gasping, clutching at your chest, like you've been stabbed 1,000 times over. But here's the beauty. In it, the pain is your rebirth. It's a baptism by fire, burning away every illusion you've ever had about who you are and who they were. And when the smoke clears, you're no longer the person you used to be. You're sharper, colder, harder. You've been refined like steel in a blacksmith's forge, hammered and heated until all the impurities have been beaten out of you. The person you were is gone, burned away in the flames of their betrayal. What's left is something they can't recognize, something they can't control. You know why that scares them? Because you're unpredictable now. You don't fit into their neat little boxes anymore. They can't use you, can't manipulate you like they did before. You've become a wild card, a rogue element in their carefully planned game. And people like them, they hate what they can't control. They thrive on predictability, on knowing that you'll play your part, stay in your lane, keep your head down. But now, you're rewriting the rules. You're stepping off the path they laid out for you, carving your own way through the wilderness, and it's making them sweat. Good. Let them sweat. Let them choke on their own fear. Because the moment you stop caring what they think, the moment you stop needing their approval, you become unstoppable. They can't touch you, can't hurt you, because you've taken away the only weapon they ever had, your own self-doubt. And without that, they're powerless. They're nothing. You've got a storm inside you, don't you? A fire that they tried to snuff out 100 times over. Every time they put you down, every time they made you question yourself, they were trying to put out that fire. They were trying to keep you small, keep you dim, because your light was a threat to their darkness. They knew that if you ever realized your own power, if you ever let that fire burn at full blaze, it would destroy everything they built on your back. But here's the thing about fire. It doesn't die easy. It smolders. It waits. It hides in the ashes, just waiting for the right moment to roar back to life. And now, it's your time to burn. Let that fire consume every doubt, every fear, every piece of them that still lingers in your mind. Let it all go up in flames until there's nothing left but the pure, unfiltered power of who you really are. They'll try to come back, they always do. The moment they see you rising, the moment they realize they didn't break you like they thought they did, they'll show up with their fake apologies and empty smiles. They'll try to slip back into your life like nothing ever happened, like they didn't walk away when you were bleeding out. They'll tell you they've changed, that they see your worth now, that they made a mistake. But you won't fall for it this time. You won't let them back in, because now you know the truth. They only want you when you're whole, when you're strong, when you have something they can take. They don't want to heal with you. They want to bask in the glow of your success without having lifted a single finger to help build it. They're scavengers, vultures circling above, waiting for a free meal. So when they come knocking, you don't answer. When they call, you let it ring. You let them feel the sting of your silence, the emptiness of your absence, because your silence, it's louder than any words you could say. It's a reminder that they had their chance and they blew it. It's a reminder that they didn't value you when it mattered, and now they don't get a second shot. You don't need their closure. You don't need their apologies. You've found your own closure in the scars they left behind. You've stitched up your own wounds, picked yourself up off the floor, and kept moving forward when they thought you'd stay down. That's your power now. That's your weapon. You've become your own savior, your own hero. And there's nothing more dangerous than a person who's realized they can save themselves. So let them watch from the sidelines. Let them see what they lost, what they threw away, like it was nothing. Let them live with the regret, the gnawing ache that they can never go back and fix what they broke. Because while they're busy drowning in their own guilt, you'll be out there, setting the world on fire, carving your name into the stars. This is your time now, your story. And it's better to stand alone, a lone wolf with nothing to lose, than to walk with a pack that would leave you for dead the moment it gets hard. You're not a sheep, you're not a puppet. You're the one pulling the strings now. And the view from the top, even when you're alone, is worth every step it took to get there. So here's the last thing I want you to remember. Never let anyone tell you who you are. Never let anyone dim your light, because they can't handle the brightness. You've been through hell, you've walked through fire, and you're still here. That makes you a force to be reckoned with. That makes you unstoppable. And the only person who needs to see your worth is you. Better to stand alone than to walk with those who don't value you. You ever look back and wonder why you let them in to begin with? Why you wasted so much time trying to prove yourself to people who never saw you, never really knew you? It's a sick little trick, isn't it? The way you convinced yourself they were worth it. The way you ignored every red flag just to keep that illusion alive. You wanted so badly to belong, to be part of something, that you sold pieces of yourself just to fit into their broken puzzle. But here's the punchline. They never saw your value because they couldn't even see their own. It's not your fault. No, I don't blame you. They wrapped themselves up in pretty words, didn't they? Made you believe they cared, that they were different, that they were the ones who'd stay when everyone else left. They fed you lie after lie, and you swallowed it down like poison, thinking it was medicine. They were your drug, and you got hooked on the high of their approval, their fake love, and now you're dealing with the withdrawal, the empty silence that feels like it's suffocating you from the inside out. But that silence, it's a gift. It's the space you need to find your own voice again. Because their voices, their opinions, their lies, they've been drowning you out for too long. You've been living in the shadows of their expectations, bending yourself into shapes that were never meant to fit you. And now it's time to break free. It's time to shatter that mold, rip off the mask, and let them see the real you. The one who doesn't need their approval, who doesn't need their validation. They're not going to like it. Oh no, they're going to hate it. They'll try to pull you back down, drag you into their pit of mediocrity, because your rise is a threat to their comfort. Your success is a spotlight on their failure, a reminder of everything they could have been if they had half the courage you do. They'll lash out, spread their venom, try to turn everyone against you, because that's what people do when they realize they've lost control. But let them talk, let them whisper, while they're busy poisoning the air with their lies. You'll be building something they can't destroy. You want to know the real reason they left? It wasn't because you weren't enough. It wasn't because you were too broken, too difficult, too much. It was because you were a mirror, and they couldn't stand what they saw in their reflection. You showed them the truth of who they were, of what they lacked, and they ran from it. They ran from you because they couldn't handle the reality that they were the ones who were empty, not you. And now they want you to feel like you're the one who's lost, like you're the one who's missing out. It's pathetic, really. They think they're punishing you by leaving. But the truth is, they did you a favor. You're free now, free to grow, free to rise, free to finally be yourself without the weight of their expectations dragging you down. You're standing on your own, and that scares them more than anything. Because now you're untethered, unchained. They can't control you anymore, can't manipulate you with their fake love and empty promises. You've seen through it all, seen them for the parasites they really are. And once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. You can't go back to pretending. And why would you want to? Why would you want to go back to living small, living quiet, living half a life just to keep them comfortable? Screw that. It's your time now. Time to take up space. Time to make noise. Time to be unapologetically, unflinchingly you. Because the person you're becoming, that's the person you were always meant to be. Strong, fierce, unbreakable. And they can't stand it. They can't stand seeing you rise without them, because it shatters their illusion of power. It shows them that they were never as important as they thought they were. You know what they're gonna say, don't you? They'll call you selfish. They'll call you arrogant, cold-hearted, ungrateful. They'll twist your growth into something ugly because they can't handle the fact that you're doing better without them. They'll say you've changed, like change is a bad thing, like evolving, becoming stronger, shedding your old skin is something to be ashamed of. But don't let their words cut you down. Don't let their bitterness infect your progress. They're only throwing stones because they can't handle the mountain you've become. You've got a fire inside you now, a hunger they can't match. They're small flames, flickering in the wind, while you're a raging inferno, consuming everything in your path. And that's what terrifies them. Because deep down, they know they can't keep up. They know they'll never burn as bright as you do, never shine as fiercely. And it eats at them, gnaws at their insides like a disease. Let it. Let them choke on their own jealousy while you keep rising, keep burning, keep pushing forward. Because here's the truth. The only person who can stop you now is you. The only thing standing between you and the life you deserve is the ghost of who you used to be, the one who needed their approval, who craved their love, who settled for less because it was easier than standing alone. But that ghost, it's fading. Every day it gets a little quieter, a little weaker, as you become stronger, louder, more sure of who you are. So don't look back. Don't waste another second on people who couldn't see your worth when it was right in front of them. Let them stay in the past, where they belong, while you step into the future they'll never be a part of. Let them watch from the sidelines as you build a life they'll never touch, a success they'll never taste. Because better to stand alone, strong and proud, than to walk with those who don't value you. And if they ask why you chose this path, why you chose to stand alone, you tell them this: I chose me. And that's a choice I'll never regret. It's funny, isn't it? How they tell you to be yourself, but the moment you start doing just that, they can't handle it. They loved you when you were small, when you played it safe, when you fit into their little box of what they thought you should be. But the second you started to grow, to stretch beyond their limits, they backed off. They looked at you like you were a stranger, like you'd betrayed them by becoming something more. They say they want authenticity, but what they really want is a version of you that doesn't threaten their own insecurities. They want you real, but not too real. They want you strong, but not strong enough to stand without them. You've felt it, haven't you? That sting, that cold realization that the people you cared about only liked you when you were easy to handle. When you started speaking your mind, when you stopped apologizing for existing, suddenly you were the problem. Suddenly you were Too much. But let me tell you something. Too much is exactly what you need to be in a world that's built to make you feel small. Be too loud, be too bold, be too strong, and watch how quickly they fall away. The ones who can't handle it are the ones who were never meant to stay. Think back to all those moments when you doubted yourself, when you shrunk back into the shadows just to make them comfortable. You gave up pieces of yourself, chipped away at your own soul, trying to fit into their mold. And what did it get you? Nothing but disappointment and regret. You can twist yourself into 100 shapes, bend until you break, and they'll still say it's not enough. They'll still find a reason to walk away when it suits them. That's the game they play. Keep you guessing, keep you doubting, keep you chasing their approval, like a dog chasing its own tail. But here's the twist. You don't need their approval. You never did. The only approval you've ever needed is your own. And once you figure that out, the game changes. The rules don't apply to you anymore. You stop playing nice. Stop playing by their script and start writing your own story. And that's when they get scared. That's when they start to realize they've lost control, that you're no longer the puppet they thought you were. It's a beautiful thing, really, watching them scramble when they realize you've slipped through their fingers. They'll try to guilt you, try to make you feel like you're the one who's changed, like you're the one who's lost your way. But don't fall for it. It's all just smoke and mirrors. One last desperate attempt to pull you back into their web. They know they've lost you, and that terrifies them, because without you, they're exposed. Without your light, their shadows have nowhere to hide. You've been the glue holding everything together, haven't you? The one who always gave more, who always tried harder, who always forgave first. And for what? So they could walk all over you, take what they needed, and leave you empty when they were done? Not anymore. Those days are over. You're done being their safety net, their second option, their afterthought. It's time they see what it feels like to lose someone who was never afraid to give it all. It's time they realize the cost of taking you for granted. They say it's lonely at the top, but that's just another lie to keep you from climbing. It's not lonely. It's peaceful. It's clear. You don't have to filter your thoughts. Don't have to censor your feelings just to make someone else comfortable. You get to breathe, to stretch your arms out wide and feel the full weight of your own existence. And the best part? You're no longer surrounded by people who drain your energy, who suck the life out of you with their negativity, their doubts, their constant need for validation. You're free now, and freedom isn't lonely. It's the most liberating feeling in the world. They'll try to twist it, of course. They'll say you've become distant, cold, selfish. They'll try to paint you as the villain in their little story because it's easier than admitting they were the problem all along. Let them write whatever narrative they need to help them sleep at night. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't have to justify your growth, your choices, your path. The people who truly understand, the ones who see you for who you are, they don't need an explanation. They'll get it without you having to say a word. So let them talk. Let them spread their lies. Let them play the victim. You've got better things to do than get caught up in their drama. You've got a life to build, a legacy to create, and it's going to be something so grand, so powerful, that their petty little games won't even be a footnote in your story. They'll fade away into the background, just another lesson learned, another chapter closed. And one day they'll look up and see you standing there on top of a mountain they never thought you could climb. They'll see the life you've built, the strength you've forged, and they'll realize they were wrong. But by then, it'll be too late. By then, you'll be too far gone, too high above them for their words to ever reach you again. You're untouchable now. You've broken the chains they tried to wrap around your heart, shattered the cage they tried to lock you in, and the person you've become, that's someone they'll never forget. They'll tell stories about you, spin tales about how they knew you, how they were part of your journey. But you'll know the truth. They were never more than a fleeting moment, a passing shadow. And while they stay stuck in their small, narrow world, you'll keep expanding, keep growing, keep conquering everything they said you couldn't. Better to stand alone, powerful and free, than to walk with those who never valued you in the first place. And if they ask why you chose this path, why you chose solitude over their company, you look them in the eye and say, because I'd rather walk alone in the truth than live with a lie.